We're finding a lovely comfortable seat to start with, and I'm going to go for a cross-legged position here. You might like to use your thunderbolt pose, but you will need some support for thunderbolt pose. So you'll need at least a 10 centimetre height, which these particular yoga blocks will give you. But if you haven't got those yoga blocks, find something else that's 10 centimetres high, a thick cushion that squashes to 10 centimetres, or some thick books. And if you sit in your thunderbolt pose, make sure that the tops of the feet are flat. If your ankles are twisting outwards like that and you can't physically draw the tops of your feet in, then sit on something higher. I'm particularly recommending this for the class today because we are going to be doing our pelvic tilting, rocking and circling, and we're going to be in our seated position for quite a long time. If you've got SPD or PGP, then sitting cross-legged might be okay if it's very mild, but it might aggravate it, especially if you're doing a lot of moving from this position. So if you have got SPD or PGP, then thunderbolt pose is a good position for the pelvic tilting, rocking and circling. Also sitting up on an exercise ball, so a big birthing ball. Make sure that your hips are at least level with your knees, or your hips are a little bit higher than your knees if you're on a birthing ball. So make sure you get the right size for your body and that you pump it up enough. So again, if you've got SPD or PGP, the birthing ball is good. And the birthing balls are really great anyway. So, from our nice comfortable position, let your eyes be closed and allow your awareness to scan over your body. Noticing how your body is feeling grounded and connected with the earth. Face and jaw, lips, teeth and tongue relaxed. And you might even give your jaw a little wiggle and your mouth a little stretch so that you can be sure that the jaw is so soft. Today's class we're focusing on Svadisthana Chakra, and this is the energy center located in the pelvis. The pelvic floor muscles are closely linked with the jaw. So if you find tension in your jaw, if you're clenching your jaw, then there might be tension held in the pelvic floor. We want our pelvic floors to be strong, but we also want them to be supple. And there is a difference between a muscle being strong and a muscle being tense. So tense is holding that contraction and holding those fibers tight constantly. And that actually does lead to weakness because there's no blood supply, there's no removal of the waste products from the muscle cells. We want the muscles to be flexible and strong with lots of blood supply and the ability to release and relax and be bouncy, the fibers be bouncy and strong. So even if we work the pelvic floor, we still are able to relax it. And so right now, relaxing your jaw, your lips, teeth and tongue. And you can even let your mind connect in with your pelvic floor and just notice whether you can feel any muscles engaging or not. That's okay, either way. In lengthening up your spine, some of the core muscles will be working. And maybe even your mula bandha, the root lock of energy, will be engaging, that soft and gentle lift of the pelvic floor. So keep thinking of that length in your spine. Give your shoulders a little shrug and circle. So shrugging your shoulders up to your ears as you inhale and exhale them down. Find the place where your shoulder blades are in their perfect position on the back. Keep the eyes softly closed and continue to trace your breath, observing your breath as it flows in and as it flows out. You notice that the breath is like a circle that is repeating over and over again. Inhalation followed by exhalation, followed by inhalation, a repeating circle. As your awareness of the breath begins to heighten, notice that after every inhalation there's an organically occurring pause, and the exhalation just naturally begins. And then after the exhalation there is a pause, and the inhalation organically begins, and the circle continues on. Inhalation, natural pause. Exhalation, natural pause. Repeating over and over again. Your mind staying connected with your breath. As we begin a little bit of movement into our bodies. On your exhalation, drop your chin down towards your chest. Inhale, looking up and over one shoulder. Exhale, chin towards your chest. Inhale, looking up and over the other shoulder. Continue with your breath. Keep your shoulders drawing back and down, as if you could slide them into your back pockets and keep them there. And one more round each side. Take your time and bring your head back to center, head, neck and spine aligned. Have a few more circles for your shoulders. Keeping your shoulders away from your ears, float your arms up to shoulder height and circle your wrists in time with your breath, exhaling down and inhaling up. Still relaxing in your jaw. Relax your lips as well. And circle the other way. And if you feel any tension in your arms, breathe it away. You could even breathe out through the lips, sending a relaxing ribbon stretching out to take away any tension from your arm. Relax your arms down, another few shoulder shrugs and circles. So you might like to change the cross of your legs if you are sitting cross-legged. Keep your body a little bit more even. It might feel a bit weird one way and more normal the other. So we're bringing palms to touch together in front of our hearts, and inhale as you squeeze your palms together. Exhale, drop your shoulders down your back and away from your ears. And again. Inhale, squeeze palms together, maybe feeling a stretch in your wrists. And exhaling, shoulders away from the ears. This wonderful strong frame we have created with the arms. Inhale, squeeze palms together, and exhale as you turn your fingertips away from you, stretch your hands forward. Inhale your arms out wide, but don't squeeze your shoulder blades together, so you're stretching fingertip to fingertip. And exhale, palms to touch. So inhaling, squeeze palms together, shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, stretching your hands out in front of you. Inhale, arms wide, not squeezing shoulder blades together. Broad across the back of your body and the front of your body evenly. One more like this. Turn the palms away. Feel that lovely wrist stretch. Inhale, wide and full into your chest, and exhale, palms to touch. Inhale, reaching your arms out and up. Palms face forward as you exhale, bringing your hands back and down. So now you really are squeezing your shoulder blades together. Inhaling up and exhale, palms to touch in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up, spread out your fingers. Exhale, back and down. Inhale, back and up, shoulders slide down the back. And exhale, palms to touch. And again like that. Lovely chest breath in. Inhaling up. And exhale, palms to touch. Inhale here, and then exhale, arms up. So the same movement, but reversing the breath. Inhale back, and exhale up. With this different breath, notice how it changes the sensation of the stretches. I just love that one across the front of the chest as you inhale there with the hands down behind. So we're exhaling up and really sink your shoulder blades down your back. Inhale back and exhale up. Inhale, palms to touch, and exhale, hands down by your sides. Inhaling, reaching one arm up, and exhale over into a side lean. Inhale, cartwheeling the arms up, and exhale over. Continue with your breath. Stay firmly grounded through your sit bones, through your feet, all the points of contact between the earth and the supports or props underneath you is solid and grounded. And really lengthen your body. Last round, come back to the middle, bring palms to touch. Inhale, reach your arms up, lengthen your spine, and exhale, gentle twist from the base of the spine, only as far as you're comfy to go. Look out over your back shoulder. Inhale, lengthen, reach, extend up, and exhale, twist. Continue with your breath. Inhale, lengthen up, and exhale, twist. So you're only twisting as far as is comfortable for you to go. Feel the twist like a spiral staircase rotating up your spine from the base where it meets your pelvis to the tip where it meets your skull. And last round, drawing your hands down through the center. So we're going to do some pelvic tilting, rocking and circling. If you're in a cross-legged position, maybe you'd like to swap your legs back again to the other way. Maybe you'd like to shift your position if you're starting to get a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe try Thunderbolt pose. And then bringing your hands onto your hips with thumbs on the back of the pelvis, fingertips on the inner hip bones. On your inhalation, tip your pelvis forwards like a bowl of water spilling out the front. And then exhale as you tip your pelvis backwards like a bowl of water spilling out the back. Inhale forwards and exhale backwards. All this movement is originating from the pelvis. I'm sure, as you can see, my upper body's creeping into it a little bit more, and that's fine. Let your upper body move into the stretch, into the flowing movement. Inhale, tip the pelvis forward, the curve of the lower back will deepen, the shoulders will draw back, lift your chin, feel space around the area of the throat. And on the exhale, tipping the pelvis backwards, round your spine, round your shoulders, drop your chin. Bring the upper body into it as much or as little as you wish. We'll make this the last round here, coming back to the center. And then we're doing some pelvic rocking. Now, if you've got SPD, just go really carefully with this. What we're doing is we're tipping the pelvis side to side. So if you've got SPD, then just make this super duper small. If you haven't got SPD and you want to go a bit further in this, think of really lifting one sit bone, coming back to the middle, lifting the other sit bone and coming back. So yeah, just let your mind scan over your body and just notice how this feels for you. But you're thinking of drawing a little smile in the air with your hip bones. And then we're going to link the movements together. So you're inhaling as you tip the pelvis forwards, forwards, and then exhaling as you tip the pelvis backwards, backwards. Inhale forwards, forwards, exhale backwards, backwards. Continue to circle. Let your hands be in a comfy position. And do feel free to swap your position if you want to try something different as we circle. And this is something you can do as well all through pregnancy in these different positions. On your birthing ball, from Thunderbolt pose, from cross-legged. You can do it from star pose where you have the soles of the feet together in front of you, quite a good distance from your body. You can do this from standing. Really good for labour as well. That's it. Good. So Svadisthana chakra, the pelvic chakra or the sacral chakra as it's also known, its colour is orange and its element is water. So we want to think about all these lovely flowing movements today as we focus on the energy of this chakra. And so this chakra is all about our creativity, and it's about our connection to our bodies, our sensuality, our ability for transformation and change. And it's a real focal point, as you can imagine, for pregnancy and birth. Lots and lots of energy shifting around that whole sacral area. And obviously the creativity, you're growing a new life inside you. And it's really important to do these lovely movements and these lovely stretches which help to energetically balance the sacral area and the pelvic area, and also physically. So obviously you're going to need all those lovely stretches. As the pelvis shifts under the hormone relaxin, as the bones shift, the muscles can tighten up and they can go into spasm and cause tension in the muscles. So all these movements help to release that tension. So if you're getting pain around the hips, around the lower back, around the sacroiliac area, these movements are so valuable. And again, bring the upper body into this more, inhaling into the back bend, exhaling, rounding the shoulders into the forward bend. So keep circling, and I'm going to get you to keep the upper body a bit more still, keeping the movements a bit more isolated to the pelvis. And then bring your arms out to shoulder height. If adding these arm movements in becomes a little bit too much, or you're a little bit tired, that's absolutely fine. Just let your arms rest down. Have your palms facing forward and keep circling. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale forwards, exhale backwards. Notice that lovely expansion of the chest on the inhale. The changing stretches as you exhale, slightly rounding in the shoulders. Not a great deal of movement in the upper body, but you will have a little bit because it's inevitable if the pelvis is changing position. Our postures are linked to every part of our body, from the feet all the way up. And if you're feeling tension in your arms, breathe it away. Maybe use your relaxing ribbon exhalation. So keep circling with your hips, so coming into cactus arms. Keeping your elbows level with your shoulders, but the shoulders away from the ears. Bring your left arm across in front of your body, the right arm underneath it, so stacking the elbows. And work the back of your hand against the back of your wrist. Keep circling. Inhale forwards, exhale backwards. Enjoy these beautiful changing stretches. Maybe you can interlock the fingers and the ball of the thumb. And release. Keep circling your hips, give your shoulders a circle a few times in each direction. That's tough, it's a coordination challenge. Arms back up to shoulder height, keep circling. Bringing your right arm up and bringing the palm of your hand down your back. Reach it down as far as you can as you keep circling, reaching your elbow up. Enjoy the lovely changing stretches you can feel in your shoulders, in your side bodies, in your hips. Turn your left palm behind you and reach the back of your hand up, the back of your body as far as you can. You may be able to interlock your fingers, but don't worry if you can't. And release. Have a few shoulder shrugs and circles. Keep circling your hips. Begin to make each circle smaller each time until you come to stop. And then circling out the other way. Inhale forwards, exhale backwards. Continue on the breath. All the movements are coming from your pelvis. Bring your upper body into it as much as you wish. And you can bring your neck as well. Make sure you never let your head flop back. Always keep the vertebra at the back of the neck long. And then bringing the movements a bit smaller in the upper body, so all these movements are originating from your pelvis. Upper body stays a bit more still and arms come out, stretching from fingertip to fingertip. Breathe wide and pull into your chest. Observe all the beautiful changing sensations that you can feel. Coming into cactus arms. Bringing your right arm across in front of your body, left arm underneath it. And maybe interlocking the wrists. Keep your elbows just about at shoulder height. Inhale forwards, exhale back. And release. And a few lovely shrugs and shoulders. Keep circling, bringing your arms back up to shoulder height. Bringing your left arm up. Reach the palm of your left hand down your back as far as you can. Reaching the elbow up. If you feel any tingling in your arms or shoulders, wrists or hands, then just let this arm stretch go. Turn your right palm behind you and reach the back of your hand up your back. Circling in time with your breath. Enjoying all these lovely changing stretches that you feel. And release. And beginning to slowly, circle inwards, smaller and smaller until you come to stop. And then coming forward onto hands and knees, with hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Lengthen from the crown of your head to your tailbone, creases between your wrists and hands parallel with the front of the mat. Feeling like you're hugging your baby in close to the warmth and the safety of your body, having a teeny tiny elbow bend in your elbows so that your arms aren't locking straight. So inhale, lengthen your spine here. And exhale as you tuck your tailbone under, round your spine up towards the ceiling. Relax your neck, let the head hang down. Inhale into your flat back position. And exhale, round into round cat. Inhale, flat cat. So then imagine that you have a point in between your hands and a point in between your knees on the mat. Begin to circle around the point in between your hands in one direction and then the point in between your knees in the other direction. So you're making figures of 8. Make sure that your face and jaw are relaxed, relaxing lips, teeth and tongue. If it feels too much for your wrists, then you can just stick to hip circles, so circling around an imaginary point in between your knees, because that keeps the pressure off the wrists. The circles around the point in between the hands is stronger for the wrists, arms and the chest. And then changing directions if you haven't already, and circle and figure of 8 in the other way, swaying and swooshing all around, thinking of that lovely watery element, that fluidity in your spine, all the little stretches in the muscles of your back, even your arms and shoulders. Back of the neck stays parallel with the floor. Lovely and relaxed. These are brilliant movements for labour. The figures of 8s are very calming and soothing, And all this helps to keep labour moving along, all this lovely movement. And in the hands and knees position, gravity is on your side and the pelvis is open. Swirling those figures of 8, keeping your face and jaw relaxed, lips, teeth and tongue all soft, all relaxed, all perfectly melting. And think of that lovely water element. Think of rocking your baby in that lovely watery bath that they're relaxing in. And so we'll just make this the last one here and have a nice round into round cat, flatten into flat cat. Come back into your aligned flat cat position, so knees directly under hips, ankles aligned with the knees. Stretch your right leg out behind you with toes curled into the mat, pushing out through the heel in tiger preparation stretch. Breathe here, send that heel away. Your toes are curled into the mat, toes nice and spread out. Really imagine that line of energy stretching out through the heels, stretching your calf muscle. If you have SPD or PGP, stay here and enjoy the stretch a little longer. If you haven't and you do want a bit more challenge, you can make sure that your shoulders are directly over your hands, tummy gently drawn in, pelvic floor lifted, so you're hugging your baby in close to the warmth and safety of your body. Lift your back leg up just to hip height, no higher. So we want to keep that line of neutrality in the spine. Any higher with that back foot would give you a dip through the lower back. And if you want any more challenge, you can stretch your opposite arm forward, extending from fingertips to toes. Tiger stretch. Ground your hand down, foot down, knee under the hip, round into round cat, flatten into flat cat. Stretch your left leg out behind you with toes curled into the mat, pushing out through your heel and breathing. Shoulders are away from the ears, elbows gently soft, face and jaw relax. Good everyone, we'll next fab. Stay here if you have SPD or PGP, make sure your shoulders are over your hands directly. If you haven't, lift your back leg up to hip height, no higher. Pelvis stays level. You can have a peep underneath to check your pelvis is level, but then bring the back of the neck parallel to the floor again. And bring your opposite arm forward in front of you, stretching and lengthening. Make sure it is the opposite arm. Tiger stretch. Bring your hand down, foot down, knee under the hip, round into round cat, flatten into flat cat, repeat 2 times. And then bringing your knees just a little wider than hip distance apart, ankles wider too, curl your toes under, walk your hands back towards your knees, lift both at the same time, use the power of your legs to push up to standing. But for now, we're finding parallel feet, and they could be inner hip distance apart, or they might be just a little bit wider. So the inner hip bones are here, sticking out the front of the pelvis. And you can align those with the line between the second and third toes, or you might like a wider stance. So in pregnancy, a wider stance can be more comfortable, but you must make sure your feet are still parallel, so still heel behind the widest part of the foot. And we're rocking the weight forwards and backwards on the feet, making each little tilt smaller each time until the feet feel evenly grounded. Ball of the big toe, ball of the little toe, left and right sides of the heel. A little tiny bend through your knees so they're not locking. And a few more pelvic tilts. So tipping your pelvis forwards as you inhale, backwards as you exhale. Just keeping that movement nice and fluid, nice and flowing. And making each movement a little bit smaller each time. And coming to a neutral pelvis, inner hip bones level with the back rim of bone. But then we're going to begin to do some figures of 8 with the pelvis. So this is more in the horizontal plane, but we will be bringing a little bit of pelvic tilting into it as well. Now you are shifting your weight from one leg to the other. If you have severe SPD, then just go back to the forward and backward pelvic tilting. Very minor SPD, this might not be too much of a problem because we are keeping both feet on the ground, and do keep that sensation of the feet grounding down firmly. And you might find a little bit of pelvic tilting happening here, perhaps as you circle the back part of the figure of 8, the pelvis sways a little bit forward, maybe it comes to neutral, maybe backwards a little bit as you past the front of the figure of 8. Let's circle the other way. Maybe your shoulders are coming into this a little bit more. So all these movements are really good for labour, helping to draw the baby down, helping to change the shape of the pelvic outlet and inlet. So the pelvic inlet is the top part of the pelvis, the pelvic outlet is the bottom part, helping to guide and draw the baby through. So we'll make that the last one, come back to the centre, maybe a few little pelvic tilts, and back again to your neutral pelvis. And shoulders stack over the hips, and then arms come down by your sides. Circle your shoulders a few times in each direction, and then finding the place where your shoulder blades are in their perfect position on the back. Turn your palms to face forward, close your eye. And allow your awareness to scan over your body, noticing how you're feeling. Broad across the front of the body, broad across the back of the body, lifted from the base of the skull and the crown of the head, grounded through the feet. Maybe keep your eyes closed. If you want, you can softly open them. And on your inhalation, sweep your arms forward in front of you without swaying back. And exhale, drift down. Palms face forward. Inhale, float up. Palms face away. Exhale, drift down. Continue with your breath. And then extending upon this to add in your chair pose. So bringing palms to touch and sitting your bottom back into an imaginary chair. And exhale to stand. Palms face forward. Inhale up. Palms face away. Exhale down. Sit into chair. And exhale, stand. When you sit into your chair pose, make sure that your knees don't overshoot your toes, and keep your knees aligned with the lines between your second and third toes. Inhale up, exhale down. Sit as low or as shallow as you wish. One more round. And come back to centre. So we're going to come over to the wall, and I'll probably be best to give you a quick demonstration of this first, and then you can head over to your piece of wall and go for it. So I'll just show you the whole wall sequence. So we're going to stand about arm distance from the wall, hands at shoulder height and shoulder width apart. Draw the shoulders down the back. From here, drop to your elbows and rest your forehead on your forearms. This is ladder against the wall. If you want to, you can work your elbows up your wall so that your forehead rests on the walls itself, and you have a lot more space in your side bodies then. Rest here, feeling the breath washing up the body on the inhalation and down on the exhalation. And then we're going to move into warrior against the wall. So you'll straighten out your arms, walk your hands down a little bit probably, but still keep them quite high. Take a little step forward with your right foot and a bit of a step back with your left foot. The left heel grounds down and the left toes turn out to the side. Bend through your right knee, stacking the knee over the ankle. Push the wall away, feel lengthen through your spine. For more challenge, lengthen your stance. We'll inhale here and then we'll exhale as we straighten the front leg and bend the back knee. So swapping over, inhale, exhale. The front leg doesn't lock straight, so I'm never locking into the back of that joint. I'm keeping it soft. So we'll do 6 or 7 rounds of that, and then we'll come back to ladder for a little rest before doing the other side. So what I'll do is I'll talk you through that again, so that you can do that without having to look at the screen. So finding a little piece of wall and standing about 50 centimetres, about arm's length away from the wall. Hands at shoulder height, spreading out all your fingers. And then dropping to your elbows. Bringing your forehead onto your forearms. If you want to go deeper into this ladder, you can walk your elbows up the wall, bringing your forehead to the wall, and rest here. Feel your breath like a wave, washing up the body on the inhalation, down on the exhalation. This is a beautiful resting pose for labour. It's upright, so gravity is on your side. You are leaning forward, so this is helping to bring the heavier parts of the baby into the right places. So the spine of the baby is quite heavy, and so that helps to draw its spine towards the front of your bump and its head down. And so this is optimal fetal position. Head down with their spine towards the front of your bump. So even in labour, babies can shift and move about. So this is a great position for labour. It's dark, it's private. You can breathe deeply into your rib cage. And then we'll shift into our warriors. So placing your hands on the wall, spreading out your fingers, walk them down just a little bit. Walk your right foot forward, keeping your left foot on its parallel line, on its imaginary line. Take a step back with the left foot to keep the heel grounded down, and turn the left toes out to the side. Bend through your right knee, stacking the knee over the ankle. Lengthen your stance for more challenge. Inhale here and exhale as you swap the bend in the knees. So you straighten the front leg, you let your back knee bend, still push your tailbone away from your wrists. Inhale, front knee bent, back knee straight. Exhale, front knee straight, back knee bent. Continue with your breath. So it's just a lovely supported warrior. It's so great for lengthening in the side bodies and stretching in the backs of the legs. Fluid, flowing movement. Fluid, flowing breath. Make that the last one. Come back into your ladder against the wall. Think about that breath washing up your body on the inhalation, down on the exhalation. Think of that ocean wave. The wave washing up the body on the inhalation, washing down the body on the exhalation. Let's do our warrior on the other side. So stretching your arms out again, shoulder width apart, maybe a little bit higher than the shoulders. And stepping your right foot back, the left foot comes forward, bending your left knee, stacking the knee over the ankle, turning the right toes out just a little bit, like 1 o'clock on the hands of a clock. Inhale and exhale, change the bend of the knees. Inhale, exhale. Fluid, flowing movement. Pushing the wall away. Tailbone lengthening away from the wrists. Toes relaxed, feet grounded. Jaw and face relaxed. Last one. And come back again one more time to ladder. Option to walk the elbows up the wall. Breathing deeply into your side bodies. The breath washing up the body on the inhalation, down on the exhalation. yourself away from the wall and coming back to your mat. So standing about a third of the way from the back of your mat, feet just a little bit wider than hip distance apart. Inhale, arms out in front, and exhale, bend through your ankles, knees and hips. Bring the hands down together, walk the hands forward, bring the knees down exactly together, coming back onto hands and knees. Clarify your flat cat position, nice spread out fingers, shoulders draw down the back away from the ears. Inhale here, and exhale, round into round cat. Inhale, flatten into flat cat. Exhale, round into round cat. Inhale, flatten, and exhale. Lovely. And then we're coming to sit in our Dandasana pose, our stick pose. So we bring, we probably want blocks. So for stick pose, the amount of blocks will depend on your body. We have the feet just a little bit wider than hip distance apart because that's probably more comfortable. Traditionally, this would be done with feet in a hip distance apart or even together, but be in a position that's comfortable for you. Toes and knees point straight up towards the ceiling. And the important thing is that your lower back is flat, centered on your sit bones. We've been doing lots of pelvic tilting, rocking and circling. So we really know that sensation of centered on the sit bones now. If you're rocking backwards and you need to come forward on your sit bones to be centered, bend your knees more or sit up on something higher. As long as you haven't got high blood pressure, bring your arms up. Feel energized through your fingertips. Shoulders dropping down your back, away from your ears. And then float the fingers down. Inhale, lift, lengthen up through your spine. Exhale, inquire into tipping forward to the front edges of the sit bone. Such a small movement, such a small, tiny tilt forward. Lots of subtle activation going on. Your legs are active. The kneecaps are sucking up towards the hip sockets. Really lift and lengthen through your spine. If you do feel like you might be tipping backwards to the back edges of your sit bones, just concentrate on being centered. Just concentrate on lifting and lengthening up. Maybe bend your knees a little bit more. You shouldn't be rounding forward here. It's really important not to try and tip forward if you're on the back edges of your sit bones because you'll end up rounding your spine, maybe straining your back. So it's only if you've got the mobility in your pelvis to actually tip forward. If you're quite flexible in your hamstrings and you're quite far along in your pregnancy, if your bump's quite big, you might find that you can't actually get much of a stretch here because your bump's in the way. That's okay, that's just one of those things. If you're a bit more tight in your hamstrings, then you'll get that stretch without having to tip forward very much. So this is just really dependent on your body. Lengthen back up. So then from here, coming into star pose, soles of the feet together a good distance away from your body. If you have SPD, then it's a good idea to support your thighs or your knees in star pose to stop gravity pulling your knees out further. It's also a good idea to sit up on a support because that helps to reduce the external rotation in the thighs as well. If your SPD is very severe, then leave this pose out or sit in thunderbolt pose. We're going to come into a twist. Inhaling, reaching your arms up, lengthen your spine, and exhale, gentle twist through the spine. You may be able to bring your opposite hand to opposite knee, but don't worry if you're not quite there. Only twist as far as you're comfy to go. Have a few breaths here. Every inhalation lengthens your spine, and every exhalation inquiring into the twist a little more. You can even look with your eyes all the way over your shoulder. Inhale, float back to the middle, and exhale, twist the other way. And inhale back. And exhale down. So if you have any SPD, just stay nice and upright. If you haven't and you think you'd like to go a little further in this pose, you can inquire into hinging forward, keeping your heart open. And if you feel it's comfortable for your body, you can round over. And slowly come back up. So then coming forward onto hands and knees for relaxation. Have your supports, cushions, blocks, anything to support your knee ready on your right hand side. Lower yourself down onto your left elbow, left hip. Straighten your bottom leg and have your right knee bent up on the supports. Maybe have a pillow under your head or another block. You can have a blanket folded up underneath your bump. You can kind of lean forward a little bit onto your bump. And let your eyes be closed. Relax your face and jaw. Relax your lips, teeth and tongue. Feel the breath like a wave that washes up the body on the inhalation and down on the exhalation. Just like a wave, the rise and fall of the breath, the swell of the breath. So natural, so peaceful, so relaxing. You feel so light, almost as if you were floating. So light. And imagine that you are floating in a beautiful ocean. And just pay attention to how this ocean looks. This is your own personal ocean. Just how you wish it would be. Pay close attention to how this water looks and allow yourself to lie in the still water. Imagine that the water is perfectly still. Today we're going to practice a visualization and breathing technique. So this is a hypnobirthing technique that you can use in labour. And this will allow you to breathe through the contractions, to be in a state of serenity, so calm and peaceful. And it's a pain management technique. So we're going to use our relaxing ribbon breath in combination with a visualization called the ocean waves breath. So you're floating here in the still ocean. It's so calm and quiet. Or maybe you can hear ocean type sounds of your choice. Visualize yourself relaxing so peacefully here. Let's find our relaxing ribbon breath. So give your jaw a wiggle, give your mouth a stretch. Find the place where you have a little gap between your teeth and a little gap between your lips. Inhale through your nostrils and exhale through your very softly parted lips. Inhale through your nostrils and exhale through your lips. And as you exhale through your softly parted lips, see if you can lengthen your exhalation as much as possible. See a beautiful ribbon stretching out from in between your lips. See your beautiful ribbon stretching off into the distance as far as you can stretch it. And imagine that there is a little wave coming towards you, just a little one. And this wave represents a contraction, an intense surge of uterine energy. It begins to swell up until it reaches its peak, which is the crest of the wave. And then it reduces down. And it disappears. And you're there resting again in the still water. Use your ribbon breath to breathe over the wave. So as you see that wave coming towards you, as you feel the sensations of the surge beginning, take in your lovely inhalation and then through your softly parted lips, breathe out and see your ribbon stretching up and over the crest of the wave, down the other side, breathing you over that surge and back to the still water. Continue in your own breath timing with this. And then as the surges increase in intensity, you may need more than one breath to breathe out, to breathe over a whole surge. So imagine a bigger wave coming towards you now. Imagine that bigger wave and use your relaxing ribbon breath to breathe up the side of the wave and then pause on the side of the wave, looking out over that beautiful, amazing scene of the ocean as you inhale. And then use your ribbon breath to lead you up and over the crest of the wave. See your ribbon like a rope, drawing you up and over and down the other side of the wave. You may even need to pause to breathe in again to nourish your body, to give you energy and vitality, and then exhale again, using your ribbon like a rope leading you down to the still water again. And practice this with these larger waves a few more times. Every exhalation is bringing you closer to meeting your baby. Every ribbon takes any discomfort away from your body and lets it dissolve peacefully, leaving your body clear and calm, relaxed. And every ribbon breath is like a rope leading you through, over each surge, one breath closer to meeting your baby. So do you keep practicing this all in your own breath timing? When you feel ready to come out, just give your fingers and toes a wiggle and come up to sitting. Notice how your body feels to move up to a seated position, awake and alert and back in the physical world. Bring palms to touch in front of your heart. Om Shanti. Namaste.